If you want to know what's going to happen to the economy, keep a close eye on the consumer because the consumer represents 70% of the U.S. economy. And McDonald's is one of those bellwethers that we all watch just to see what's going on with the consumer. And unfortunately, earlier this year, McDonald's reported dramatic sales drops. We're going to get to why that is, but there's additional headwinds that McDonald's is going to face. And I'm going to share with you why it matters to all of us. And we're going to start off with an article from Newsweek, and they're talking about a boycott of McDonald's that's going to start, as I record this, during the month of August. And McDonald's just recently, the first quarter of the year, had one of its biggest sales drops since the beginning of COVID when their stores were closed because of health mandates. So let's jump into this Newsweek article. The title is Nationwide Boycott Plan for August 1st and What to Know. There's a nationwide boycott being organized by the People's Union USA, and the mission statement for the People's Union USA says, they are not a political party. We are not a protest. We are a movement of people organized to take back control of our economy, government, and future of our country. And so it's important to see, why is McDonald's on this list? And according to the website, McDonald's was included because of tax avoidance and known lobbying against wage increases. Now, I should say, the tax avoidance, I have no idea on that. I'm sure McDonald's would say that they pay every penny that they're legally obligated to pay. And like many of us, they're looking for, how do we legally lower our taxes? So again, why does this matter to you and I? It matters to you and I because we're looking for indicators. We're putting together the tea leaves and looking at, how is the consumer doing? And my sense is the consumer has been tapped out for a long time, maybe not acting like they're tapped out, but now they are acting like they're tapped out. And that could have implications for how we're invested. I'm going to come back to that thought on how we're invested. I was a financial advisor for 20 years, over 20 years, before I retired. And I've seen people make mistakes based on information like this. And I don't want to see you make that. But I want to get back to the issue of taxes, because all of us are looking at two major expenses that we can likely control better than what we are. One is healthcare. I'm not going to talk about healthcare today, but I will quickly say that unfortunately, even once we're on Medicare, according to Fidelity, the average American from 65 and for the rest of their life, believe it or not, needs to budget $165,000 per person, including their Medicare premiums and cost above and beyond Medicare. So have that on your radar screen. Another thing, and we saw that the People's Union was protesting because of tax avoidance. I don't want you to do tax avoidance, but I don't want you to have to pay a single penny more than what you have to in taxes. So having a good financial plan, particularly as you look and you're getting closer to retirement, and strategizing on your taxes can often give you a return on your investment if you're using an accountant or a financial advisor, a multiple return on your investment. So super important to look at your taxes and make sure you're paying everything you owe, but not a penny more. If you're not going to work with an accountant, if you're not going to work with a financial advisor, I think the next best choice is to have software designed for you to help you think through issues like healthcare costs, think through issues like taxes. The software that I like is called Bolden, used to be called New Retirement, but Bolden's about more than just retirement. It's about planning for retirement whether you have 1 year until you retire, 10 or 20. It can help you with that journey. You can sign up for Bolden using this QR code here or signing up in the link in the description, and you'll be supporting the channel. Okay, let's go back. I said, get the consumer right, and you'll have a really good head up on what's going to happen in the economy. And I mentioned earlier about McDonald's having one of its toughest quarters since the beginning of COVID when its stores were shut down. Here's an article from that period of time from CNBC. McDonald's reports largest U.S. same-store sales decline since 2020. And in this article, it says McDonald's U.S. same-store sales shrank 3.6% as the chain faced bad weather and a more cautious consumer. I don't know if that's if weather was a factor or not, but the cautious consumer gets my attention. So let's see what the CEO said when he announced these earnings. He said in the U.S., overall quick service restaurant industry traffic from the low income consumer cohort was down nearly double digits. That's a big change from the prior year. And then he said, unlike a few months ago, QSR, the quick service restaurant, QSR traffic from middle income consumers fell nearly as much, a clear indication that economic pressure has broadened. So it wasn't just the lower income consumer, it broadened into the middle income consumer. And many of us, you've probably seen this as well. You know, it wasn't unusual. We'd have date night with our spouse, or, you know, going out to eat with our family as a treat once a month, once a week, whatever it was. And maybe, you know, we could afford to go to a somewhat nice restaurant. And then as prices rose, then we kind of downgraded to something that's fast casual maybe. And then as those prices rose, we downgraded again to McDonald's. And now McDonald's is not cheap, even at McDonald's, even at these quick service restaurants. It's hard to get out of there for a family of four, really hard to get out of there for under $50. You can do it. McDonald's has introduced the $5 menu and things like that. I want to leave with one article, one other piece from it, and then I'm going to share what it means for our investments. And the article from CNBC says, compared to its industry peers, McDonald's has more low and middle income diners. And even though high income consumers are still dining out, their spending is not enough to offset the shrinking traffic from other income cohorts. So what does this mean to you and I? I think what it means to all of us is, you know, the economy goes in cycles, and we may be in a cycle where the economy is starting to slow. Right? As I record this, the jobs report just came out. It was not as good as hoped. And so that may be a sign of slowing. And if the economy slows, it may be a headwind for companies. And if it becomes a headwind for companies, it may decrease the value of their shares. On the other hand, artificial intelligence might be able to cut labor costs, which is a big expense for companies, fast enough that their profits can stay stable or grow. And what all this points out to is it's really hard, it's impossible to predict what the stock market's going to do. So the best course of action, this is not financial advice for anybody. I don't know your situation, but what I used to tell my clients is let's come up with an asset allocation that we can stick to in good times and also in bad times, and get that asset allocation right. And don't try to time the market, because even the pros can't time the market. If you like this video, I think the next video of mine that you'll enjoy watching is 8 things to stop doing in your 50s and 60s in order to enjoy your journey until it's your time to retire. Thanks for watching this video. Bye-bye.